Hi, this is Abhimanyu. I am with the team of Delhicrime 2, Director Tanuj Chopra, Shefali Shah, Rasika Dugal, and Rajesh Tailang. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Very well.
Very
How are
well.
you?
I am doing great. Particularly, how are you to you? I mean, you gave us a scare for the last 1 week or so.
Well, it was a scare, and it was it was bothering me more emotionally than physically. That the thought that I could not be here for Delhicrime, but touch wood, I've recovered. I think it was everyone's unanimous prayers, and my tests were negative, and I'm feeling good.
I was walking with my fingers crossed for the last 1 week, so that I think I have contributed.
Yeah, so it's absolutely, I agree with you, and thank you for that.
See, I'll start with you since you are the man behind the frame, the brains behind the entire thing. Season 1 was pretty self-contained. It had an arc, it had a conclusion. So what was the genesis of Season 2? Was it the success or was it the lure to tell more interesting stories?
I think it was the desire to grow the show, to make it, to take it to a new place. You know, Season 1 was such a special season. Special is a strange word to use, but it was a self-contained season, like you said, and you can't do it again. And there's no point of doing it again. It's already been done. It's no challenge for the actors. It's not a challenge for me. So the challenge is, how do we take this show and maybe find people who couldn't watch Season 1 and bring them into a new ride?
This is a question for all three of you. And I'm going to quote an actor I just spoke to, Mr. Pankaj Tripathi. He said, when we do shows which are Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, so by the time the next season comes, we are a little lazy. He said, "Is character mein to ghusna aaram se ho jayega." He says, I tend to get a little lazy. Then I see the other actors coming in and suddenly I'm like, nahin, ye log mehnat kar rahe hain, mujhe bhi karni hai. Is it like that for you or are you always prepared?
For me, no day is lazy. For me, every day is a test and an exam every time I go in front of the camera. So even if I'm prepared, I feel I'm underprepared and I'm not. I have this fear of like performance anxiety that I might just not be able to do it.
Rasika?
I'm very excited about subsequent seasons because you've already created a character. Now you have an opportunity to add more to it, add more details, add more nuances. And Pankaj is, I think, ऐसे ही बोल रहे थे. वो हर सीजन में ऐसे ही बोलते हैं कि मैं effortlessly आ जाता हूँ और बहुत कमाल का काम करके चले जाते हैं. तो so I wouldn't take what he said so seriously because he's such a natural that he gets it right in spite of. And he might be thinking he's being lazy, but I don't think he is.
I think his level of laziness is benchmark थोड़ा high है. राजेश, तो इससे थोड़ा जुड़ा हुआ सवाल कि how difficult is it to pick वहीं पे जहाँ पे आप छोड़ के गए थे साल, 1.5 साल, 2.5 साल पहले, उसी से पिकअप करना कितना मुश्किल होता है, उस बीट पे दोबारा जाना, उस रिदम पे दोबारा जाना किरदार के?
मतलब एक तरह से डिफिकल्ट होता है और एग्जैक्ट सेम जगह से शुरू हो रहा हो भी ज़रूरी नहीं है. थोड़ा उस कैरेक्टर की ज़िंदगी में भी और कुछ घट चुका होता है, देखिए, तो वो है. ऐसा नहीं कि उपन्यास एक जगह एक नॉवल पढ़ रहे थे और कान मरोड़ के रख दिया था उसका, फिर उठा के फिर वहाँ से चालू कर दिया.
राइट.
ये तो नया ही नॉवल है, आप समझ रहे हैं,
नया अध्याय है, एटलीस्ट
नया अध्याय है, तो कैरेक्टर सेम है. तो वो चैलेंज एक एक्टर का होता है, लेकिन फिर भी जब पूरा एक्टिंग इज रिएक्टिंग है ना, तो जब सारे रिएक्शन के लिए जो सारे स्टिमुलेंट्स हैं वो सारे मुहैया हो जाते हैं जब शूट में, तो आपके लिए वो आसान हो जाता है. चैलेंजिंग होता है, बट हाँ ईजियर पड़ता है उस समय. और या
Shefali, coming to you, from what I've watched of the show, both the seasons, my takeaway.
You've seen the entire second season?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah, I have. We'll discuss that later, but my entire takeaway, one line, I don't know how correct it is, but to me, season 1 was the story of the crime with the team being introduced. Season 2 is the story of the team with the crime happening. So how freeing it is that now the focus is more on the character's backstory as well, instead of the crime's backstory.
You know, I think this is, Tanuj should answer this because it's amazing how you're using exactly the words and line that he's been using and we have been seeing. That the first one, Tanuj.
No, but you brilliantly said, because it's a liberating feeling. It's liberating. You don't have to be chained to the weight of Season 1. You can grow and expand, and it's the liberation of it. You said it perfectly.
I was hoping you had to add to that something.
Yeah.
But no, as an actor, does it give you more freedom to delve deeper into the character, to bring out more of Vartika?
Absolutely. And you know, when you say more, it's just exactly like you said, delve deeper into herself. Because there will be situations. Also, season 1, there was a crime that shook the entire nation and the world, and how this team reacted and worked towards it. The crime was bigger than them.
Right.
And for them, even in season 2, because they're so diligent and conscientious and they're doing what they love, the crime is always going to be bigger than them. But more than the crime, it's about getting that justice. And how do we do the justice part of it? Is it as simple as there is proof, there is a crime, there is proof, there are victims, there is a procedure? Or is there more to it?
Right.
So here I feel, there is so much of introspection, which I think is amazing. See, also in season 1, the line was very clear. There was no wavering of moral compass. They were bad guys, she wanted to get them. It was as simple as that. Here it's not as simple as that. Yeah.
It's a little more muddled as compared.
It's far more muddled. And I think it's a wonderful space to, it's really, yeah.
Was it fun muddling that up? Because, season 1 was about such a sensitive crime that you could not waver too much. You could not dramatize it beyond a point. It would become insensitive. Here, the crime is, of course, is sensitive, but it's so far back in people's memory that most people do not remember it. I grew up in UP, so I remember them. But most people of my generation will not remember the gang. They'll just laugh at the name. So was there greater freedom to dramatize effects and to fictionalize it here?
I think so, because, I think to even just show things, we can show things in this season that you can't do. In season 1, we never showed the crime. We never showed much of anything. The audience already knows all of it. This time we have a responsibility to show the audience, to ground the audience in the crime. So the crime scenes can be more graphic per se.
Yeah.
And I think the other piece is the way you put together a true crime fiction. Let's just call it true crime fiction. We are merging real crime events and merging it into one story. Everything in this story has happened in some level, even all the way to the end. There's been a version of this that has happened, and it's not about telling one singular crime story. It's about being inspired by true crime events
and weaving them together
and fusing them together. And finding a greater emotional truth through that process. That's what I hope this season achieves. It's a little different than a pure docudrama.
This is for both of you. Is she Madam Sir on set as well? Is she like that bossy, that dominating, or?
She has two sides.
See, I can see that. I can see one side. This is the other now.
She has a very, very funny side, which is quite, when you see that right next to her Vartika Chaturvedi side, it is a little unsettling, but also very, very hilarious.
Yeah.
And it provides the very essential comic relief that we do need on a given shoot today, especially when you're working with material which is so intense. So yeah, we embrace both sides.
Yeah, they just accepted it and like.
राजेश जी थोड़ा
बिल्कुल मतलब वैसा सेट्स में तो कहीं से मैडम सर की तरह बिहेव नहीं करती, लेकिन हाँ
मैडम सर भी अच्छी हैं, ऐसा क्यों आप लोग?
No, he said that is she bossy and whatever. So
that's what.
हाँ.
और मैडम सर का जो जनरली कॉनोटेशन है.
There goes my promotion.
Yeah, finished. हाँ, then tell.
मतलब जब शूट है, मतलब on the shot also, भूपेंद्र and वर्तिका share a different kind of relationship. तो वहाँ पे भी बॉसी बना नहीं है. मेरे लिए तो दोनों जगह अच्छा है.
हाँ, वो I think राशिका ही फंसी है वहाँ पे.
इनको प्रमोशन मिल गया, मेरा पता कर.
हाँ, ये भले IPS हो.
I know.
This is for you, Shefali. There's not a charge as such, but sort of. Some people have said that this show is a little too soft on police. That of course, since it shows their side, their vulnerabilities, their point of view, it sometimes gets into the, I won't say even propaganda, but it's sometimes very police friendly. And of course, we see scenes like someone saying, I've been here on duty for 18 hours, which does happen. So do you think it is too soft on the police, or do you think it is needed to be that soft and show that human side of the police force?
I don't think, Abhimanyu, that it's aiming to be soft or hard on either sides, actually. I mean, in one, when that incident happened, everyone was, you being a journal must be more aware to the inside information. Me just sitting out there in my house and cursing everyone around for what has happened to this girl and why is no one doing anything about it. When I read the script, I realized there was somebody who did something about it. And it made me feel safer. And strangely so, it was a woman and her team who got these guys. So there was a sense of security and safety that came from there. But in season two, like I said even before, I mean, she's human. They falter. It's not like they're spotless. They falter, they make mistakes, but then that's just human. But they have the grace to accept, acknowledge and correct it. So we are not just saying, everything is hunky-dory, they're just spotless, they're just doing their job perfectly well. ऐसा नहीं है.
Right.
वो लोग भी गलतियां करते हैं और होता ही है ना, like in life with everyone.
That's for every job. That's
Absolutely.
राजेश सर, एक ट्रेलर में एक लाइन थी और एक आप दोनों का कॉन्वर्सेशन था शो में कि 2 दिल्ली हैं. There are 2 Delhis that exist. Of course, you have spent so much time in this city. आपने वो दोनों पहलू देखे हैं इस शहर के. सबसे बड़ा कॉन्ट्रास्ट आपने क्या देखा एंड आप वहाँ से कुछ लेके आए कि आपने कैरेक्टर में अपने रोल में ऑफ दिस कॉन्ट्रास्ट बिटवीन द 2 साइड्स ऑफ दिस सिटी?
देखिए, ये जो डिस्पैरिटी है वो तो हम हर शहर में झेलते आए हैं, हर शहर में देखा है, देख के तकलीफ भी होती है और तो दिल्ली में भी वैसा देखा है. लेकिन इसी के साथ साथ एक डाइवर्सिटी भी है. वो उसका पॉजिटिव एस्पेक्ट मुझे वो मज़ेदार लगता है दिल्ली का, कि आप अचानक जैसे 21वीं सेंचुरी से आप मेट्रो में ट्रेवल करते करते सदर बाज़ार में निकल जाएं तो ऊपर तांगे चल रहे हैं और घोड़ा गाड़ी चल रही है, बैलगाड़ी चल रही है, तो इट्स लाइक टाइम ट्रेवल ऑल्सो. सो फॉर मी दिल्ली इज मतलब ब्यूटीफुल, चाहे वो कोई भी तबका हो, बट उसकी वजह से जो बहुत सारे डिस्क्रिमिनेशन होते हैं, डेफिनेटली वो उसी पे बात करता है दिल्ली क्राइम, और उसकी वजह से जो क्राइम पनपते हैं.
Right, of course. That is the genesis of the show in pretty much every season. This is an open question to all of you. And in Indian OTT scenario, there's a season 2 curse that some people believe. There have been some great shows, I won't name them. Season 1 has been splendid. Season 2, people haven't loved as much. There have been shows, of course, which has gone on to do multiple seasons. You have been part of them as well. Now, when Delhicrime, Emmy nominated and everything, it's considered probably one of the best series that India has made. Do you get nervous? Do you get excited? Do you get scared when you think of season 2 and how it would be accepted and it would always be held up to season 1 in what it was?
Well, there was, this is a question we've thought of. But I remember the first conversation that Tanuj and I had when we met was, we are not aiming to make season 1. And like he correctly says, we've been given a legacy of something so beautiful. Leave it there. The point is, first and foremost, there is no competition here. This has to match up to this.
Right.
This has to be good in its own space. That is important. And I am very proud of what we've made. And I can say that after I've seen the show, So I don't see it as a competition. A comparison might be natural, but honestly, my sincere request to people is that give it its due chance. Then decide. What the audience feels is not in our control.
Right, of course.
Some people, and art is subjective. Some people may love it, some people may not. So that's fair enough. But give it its due chance. Don't burden it with something else. And because it's not fair.
I mean, I also feel like ranking and comparing is just such a natural part of people's things.
Yeah.
Like, some people care about ranking more than they care about the content. If you're just a ranker, fine, rank them. It doesn't matter to me. Like, we made something that is self-contained in itself, Let's have a conversation about the themes, the characters, the story. That's more significant than ranking.
Rasika, Rajesh, you have some thoughts on this?
I mean, pretty much they've covered what we think about it. But I just feel like subsequent seasons are always interesting to me for the reason that, there are some things that that might have worked, that you can take further very beautifully, and there are some things that you might not succeed in doing so, and that's fair enough. But for an actor, I think just to receive the content of a subsequent season is always very exciting for me, because I just want to see what creative writers and minds can do with something like that. How the audience responds to it is another thing, and that is also full of curiosity for me, because sometimes people have watched one season, and even if you didn't mean to pick up something from there, they've sort of made their own connection and they've lived with that connection. So it's always nice to see that response. The worry is not about whether the season will do well, at least not for me. I mean, that is a worry for other people. But I know that I just hope that it will be watched and that there will be interesting responses.
That's a very neki kar darya mein dal attitude.
Huh?
I'm saying that's a very neki kar darya mein dal attitude. So
I mean, kind of. Not darya mein dal. थोड़ी curiosity तो है.
Right, of course.
क्योंकि क्या बोल रहे हैं, क्या सोच रहे हैं, क्या समझ रहे हैं और क्या उसमें अपना क्या देख रहे हैं.
Right.
So वो तो है.
राजेश जी आपको?
नहीं भाई, मतलब ऑब्वियसली, और मैं तो उसको खाली एक एक्टर की तरह ही सोचने की कोशिश करता हूँ कि उसकी अपनी एक जर्नी है, अपना एक है, उसकी एक जो वो पीछे का बोझ आता है, वो एक उसको एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि उतनी ही ऑनेस्टी के साथ, उतनी ईमानदारी के साथ आप काम करें और उसकी सच्चाई को उभारने की कोशिश करें. बाकी तो
जनता के हाथ
नहीं है.
Final question: will Delhicrime 3 make us wait as much as Delhicrime 2 did, because it was a long wait?
Do you want that number 3?
Oh yeah, of course. People are already asking for it. Yeah.
Tell na Tanuj.
Tell us na Tanuj.
Tanuj, tell ya.
I think everybody should write a letter to
Do a petition.
do a petition.
Yeah, because that works in India.
Oh God, did I say something wrong again?
No, it's okay.
We're
I
excited.
said
There's definitely more we can do with the show. So I'll leave it at that.
you should be a politician. Thank you for the time.
Director's a politician.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the show.
Thank
All the
you.
best for how the audience receives it, and I hope everybody loves it as much as I have. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.